first episode of Budget Build Friday. This is a show where on as many Fridays as we can, I just realized that we have like police colors. Hold on one sec. I'm gonna change the color over here. So it's not, I'm like, wait, why is this police colors? There we go. There we go, now we match. Hey everybody, anyway, welcome everybody to Budget Build Fridays. I am your host, Jesse Robey, and this is a new show that will be on as many Fridays as we potentially can. For the first couple, it'll be every other Friday, just because we also have Intel Gamer Days that'll be happening at the same time, because mod workshops and stuff like that. But when we can have a Budget Build Friday, we will have a Budget Build Friday. What is the point of this show, you might ask? Well, I will say that one of the things that, as much fun as it is to go and build as many of all the PCs that we potentially can, one of the things that I know that a lot of people are looking for are builds that are much more like friendly on the wallet. Now the thing is you go out there and there's a ton of Zach Tech Turf, people like Toasty Bros. There's a ton of people who do a lot of content around basically doing budget builds. But one of the things that they never kind of talk about, and one of the things that we're doing here, is we're going to talk about the pros and cons of doing certain things and when we make certain choices. And so I've partnered with Tom. I've also partnered obviously with Damien, with Kevin, and a bunch of members of my team to bring a show where we basically demystify budget builds, and then we start to play with all of the different levers that you have to play with when you think about building a budget build. Because believe it or not, actually, as the cost becomes less expensive, I would actually say the build becomes more complicated because you start to compromise on certain things and people don't fundamentally understand what it is that they may necessarily be compromising on. So the purpose of this show is for those of you guys who are fans of building budget PCs or etc. This is your opportunity to ask those questions, as well as see a number of builds that are going to be in different classifications. We're talking $650 builds, $1,000 builds, $850 builds. Everything will be sub $1,000 and all that sort of stuff. The other thing too is that these builds, so we have a stream on Friday, and then the next Friday we actually release a video on that build. So essentially there is Budget Build Friday content every week, but it will come in YouTube form and it'll come in YouTube live form. So the video version of this, which will be like the picking parts and all that stuff for people who don't necessarily want to stick around for 2.5 hours, will be out the next week. Now, I know a lot of people are really excited because, hey Robey, what are you going to do with a bunch of $1,000 builds? Nothing. That's the thing, is I obviously don't have a need or a desire to have more PCs. So it's like, you know what? Instead of doing these one-off little goofy giveaways where we'll like give away like a $50 Newegg gift card or a GPU or whatever it was, we're just going to give away a PC. So every time that we do a budget build live version of the show, we will actually give away a PC with it. And then on top of that, we also still have the standard sub-only giveaway that also happens as well, which is that one we're giving away a 7600X 4070 Super build as well. So, but this one, you don't have to be subscribed. Now, if you are subscribed with Amazon Prime or whatever it was, then you do get additional entries towards winning this PC. And then you're gonna start to find out that $1,000 or $850 or 650 bucks actually goes a long way towards building a pretty epic PC. So that's kind of the gist of why I started the show, because I feel like there's a lot of information, but what there isn't is a great like open forum for people to basically, hey, I want to ask questions, I want to know what it takes, and give you guys an opportunity to say like, hey, if you're thinking about building a budget build, show up on Fridays, ask your questions, on top of just asking the questions within Discord. Now, a couple of things that I am going to set as a precedent as well. First and foremost, number one, all of the parts that we're essentially talking about are going to be from Amazon, Newegg, Best Buy. They're going to be from standard retail stores. I know a lot of other budget build places will get stuff from like AliExpress, etc. like that. Again, I will tell you, like we've had some nightmare stories with AliExpress. It becomes a whole lot more complicated the moment that you start basically getting stuff from like AliExpress, eBay, all that sort of stuff. So this will be stuff that you can get from standard retail stores. The other thing too is that I also tell you that we won't basically over cheap out on PSUs. We will always choose PSUs that are safe, that we stand behind. So again, one of the things that I've seen people basically say, hey, where I'm going to spend the least amount of money is on my PSU, and in the end you end up ending up with a pretty bad situation. So you'll probably see a lot of the same PSUs that are going to be used in a lot of these builds. Things like the Thermaltake, things like Corsair, etc., where we're basically choosing specific PSUs, because the one thing we don't want to do is we think of a PC as a platform. It's a beginning place for essentially you to start growing your PC prowess. Now, outside of basically PSU, and in some regards case, the other thing too is that we're also, and Thomas is learning this a little bit. We're also going to be pretty smart about the cases we recommend. There are a lot of cases out there that are very cheap. We're talking 30, 40 bucks. But the other thing too is that, you know, for instance, he ended up buying a Montech case that was like $50 or whatever it was. And then he went and built in it and it was terrible. And the other thing too is if you wanted to do anything inside of it, all in all, like your experience would actually be very bad. So what you're gonna see is you're gonna see cases that we've built in before that we recommend. And then all in all, these are still very inexpensive cases, 50, 40, 60, that kind of price. But the other thing too is that there is a level in which I'll get, because the other thing too, again, this is a platform that's going to grow. This is a platform in which you can upgrade, etc. That's one of the beauties about owning a PC. We want to make sure that your experience is like, well, I had such a terrible experience building in this thing that I don't want to ever build in it again because it sucked so much. So that's the other thing too that we're going to basically be doing here when we're talking about the PC builds, etc. I also want to let you know there's going to be learning along with this, right? When we basically are building these PCs and all this stuff, I'm going to be learning too. I am not the foremost expert on anything. I learn a lot as I do it. I am a hands-on, test it, that sort of thing. And the other thing too is like as we start to build this relationship together, as we start to do this show and do these things together, there will be things that I learn and there will be things that you learn. And there are things that you're going to teach me and there are things that I'm going to teach you as well. So don't forget, like if I get something wrong, so be it. I am here to learn along with you, so there may be places where I make mistakes and I will always own up to that stuff. Okay, so given all of that precursor and all that sort of stuff, yeah, and steel eyes, exactly. We're also looking for cases that include fans, no hidden gotchas, anything like that. And then the other thing too that I will also say is like just to say, now that all of that pre-information is out of the way, a couple things about this build specifically. This build is like a baseline, a benchmark, a place to start. This is not, one of the things that we didn't do right off the bat is we didn't say, hey, I want to maximize power, lack performance. I wanted to downgrade like how it looks or all that stuff to maximize how much money I'm getting for them. This is when you look at a build that is sub $1,000, and that's $1,000 pre-tax, you know what I mean? So I think this build came in right at $965. This is a balanced build. It's using modern day CPU, modern day GPU. It has if you think of parts as a circle, it's pretty much circle. It's in a nice, safe place across the board. And all in all, it's not you're not basically using anything particularly old. You have a platform that you can upgrade from. We weren't basically, you know, giving you inexpensive NVMe. We weren't giving you an inexpensive GPU. We weren't skimping out on an inexpensive CPU. We made sure that there's a part for everything that's in here. We didn't use a stock cooler, right? This is a balanced $1,000 build. Can you get more for $1,000? Absolutely. Next, in 2 weeks, we'll basically be building a PC that has a 4070 in it, and it's sub $1,000. So, but there are things that we had to sacrifice to make sure that we were able to do that stuff. So, when you think about that and you're looking at this, those are just some of the things to think about. When you look at this part, you're like, dude, a 4060 13400, yes, it's a balanced build. Could we do better? Absolutely. But this is when you look at most builds around this price, these are going to be typical of the parts that you have inside of it. So it gives us a great baseline for what is going to be capable, what this build is going to be capable of doing. The last thing I want to let you know is that we already have benchmarks for this build. Like we already know what it's done. It's already been tested. We know how it is. The one thing that I will say, and this is something that we made a mistake on, everything that we did here for this actually ran at 1440p, not 1080p. That is just something that miscommunication between myself and Thomas. We will get 1080p numbers for this one in time for the video next week. So the 1080p numbers will be in there. Moving forward, we'll always have 1080p and 1440p numbers. But I just want to give you guys a preview here because you might be surprised how well this thing actually does at 1440p. So this thing at 1440p, and you can see the settings right there, will play black will play Black Myth Wukong at 61 frames per second. It'll play Forza Horizon 4 5 at 80 frames per second, Call of Duty Modern Warfare at 135 frames per second, and it'll also play Cyberpunk 2077 at 70 something, what was it, 60 or 70 frames, 66 frames per second. So in terms of what can a $1,000 build do at 1440p, well, it can do that right there. Now, there's some things that are wrong about that graphic because we got to fix. It has the wrong, I don't remember if it had the right GPU or stuff like that. But we are like kind of putting this train together as we start going through this. So that'll give you an idea. That's the build we're going to build today. The other thing too is because this build is part of a pairing with a video, this will be very focused on giving you a step-by-step guide. So if you like this build, you're like, hey, I want to build a safe balance build, you can follow along with this live stream and it will show you every step of the way on how to build this PC. So I will be using the roaming cam, we will be zooming in, I will be showing you everything about building this PC. Then we will benchmark it at the end, make sure it boots, and then we'll give it away at the end. How does that sound? Pretty straightforward? Any questions? Does this make sense? Wow. Is Twitch, I'm not seeing Twitch chat in my thing. I'm gonna restart my restream real quick. Oh, and that's right. Thank you, Tom, for reminding me that one point. That's why I was like, wow, it's weird that I'm not seeing Twitch. One other thing I do want to mention real quick. One thing that Tom did add, which I think is actually really cool. If you head over to Robeytech.com now and you actually hit the search function, you will be able to search everything on Robeytech. So if you want to build, if you look up Budget Build Friday, there's now a Budget Build Fridays specific webpage, which he's linked out before. And then at the same time, if you want to search for Lian, Lancool, any case, all that sort of stuff, the Robeytech.com is now completely searchable, and you can absolutely look to see where that stuff is, which is actually pretty cool. I'm sorry, for some reason, Restream is not loading my Twitch. It's getting 3 of the 4. I'm gonna just check what's going on here. So I see Twitch chat, but it's on the other side. I don't know why we're not getting, it's an internal error. Okay, I'm gonna try this again. Come on, Restream. I wanna be able to see chat. Suck. Okay, well, I'll just have to pay attention to both. Huh. Yeah, so guys, I have to pay attention to both sides for some reason. It's not, I don't know why it's doing that. All right, well, that's unfortunate. So I can see Twitch chat, it's just on the other side. Let me pop it out and then I'll be able to see both. Sorry guys, I don't know why that's not working. All right, guys, I can see it all now. Okay, cool. All right, so that is the 411 and everything having to do with this build. If you guys, someone told us on Twitter the average price of a game. Yeah, I know. That is, I retweeted that. It is not $7,500. That guy, I don't know what piece. He must be buying PCs from Overkill Computers because that is bonkers. I don't know who spends $6,500 on a PC. So that's absolutely nuts. So yeah, he had an amazing budget, and then that is absolutely crazy. Yeah. Oh, he was linking his MacBook Pro. Well, that's even better. Okay, well that's great. All right, so let's talk about what parts we're putting inside of this build today. Starting with the CPU, we're using the Intel Core i5 13400F. So there it is right there, 13400F. The 13400 is a lot of people, these are builds you don't see very often. CPUs we don't see very often here on Robeytech. It is still a Core i5. It's still, it's kind of at the lower end in terms of where we are from a CPU standpoint. I forgot how many cores and stuff were on this actually. It's been so long since I've actually paid attention to this. How many P cores and E cores are in this, Tom? Can you let me know? So 13400F, and then this one does not include I think this one does not include a GPU. So let's go there. Kawasabi, the way that worldwide works is that you can ship it worldwide, but you have to play 6 P cores, 4 E cores. Thank you, Hidden Attribute. Couple things. Number one, worldwide is you have to pay for customs and shipping. I want to let you know that shipping for this will probably be more expensive than the cost of the PC in itself. But if you want to do it, you can. It actually probably won't be that much. Customs won't be that bad either, but yeah. And you have to be 18 years or older, and you have to be able to fill out tax forms. So there you go. So there you go, 6 P cores, 4 E cores, 13400F. This does actually not need an air cooler. So if you wanted to save an additional 15 bucks, you could actually just use the stock cooler in here if you wanted to, and it is more than capable of cooling it. Just so you know, it's pretty noisy, but if you're looking to ink every single dollar out of this, you absolutely can. The other thing too is that this is still impacted by the issues that do happen with Intel. It is less apt to actually have happen. So we are going to be upgrading our BIOS live on the show today to show you how to basically deal with this. If you win this PC, that will already be fixed, but we're going to show you the BIOS update in general. The BIOS is showing, people are seeing that there is actually no difference in performance or anything, and everything that we tested from performance was tested with the new 129 microcode update. That is spazzing out. You're absolutely right. Aftermarket air coolers do look better, and they are nowhere near as noisy. But again, if we're going to, if you are going to do it, then if you are going to do it, you can. T-Man, you should reach out if you think it's actually having to do with that Intel issue. You can actually get it replaced. So reach out to Intel's support. Okay, guys, the other thing too is that we also have the Hyper 212 Spectrum V3. This is what we're going to use to cool it. Do you need it? No. But the other thing too is when you think about a balanced build, and the reason that we chose these parts specifically in this case was because if you upgrade, say for instance you go to a 13.6 non-K or something like that, you do have upgrade possibilities here, especially when you have like a Hyper 212 cooler or anything like that. The other thing too is it's just really quieter, and I think Thomas right now, who's testing with the right now with our other build that we're going to be building in 2 weeks, that is pretty loud. So again, just one of those things that we're also going to save your ears by putting the 212 Spectrum V3 on your PC. Okay, for the motherboard, we're using the B760 DS3HAX. Again, like I said, we're sticking to this budget build. When we think about balanced, it's sticking to modern day parts. We didn't do B660. We stuck with B760 that worked with 13th and 14th gen. This has all of the modern day stuff that goes with it, and all of the accoutrements that came with this 760, which is actually kind of nice. Could you save money here? Absolutely. There are less expensive motherboards you could save by going with an older generation, etc. But again, these are all some of the things that you start to play with, and then you have to make the decision on what you're willing to sacrifice should you decide to go down in generation or to an older motherboard in general. This case, we're not really saving much or anything like that. So, and then all of the prices for these things, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, they're down below. There's everything is linked there. Also, you can go to robeytech.com/builds and robeytech.com/budget build, and all of the parts are linked there as well. So if you're just like, hey, this build looks amazing, this is exactly what I want to have a safe, like no frills, ready to go budget build, then you can get those parts here. So B760 DS3H, this is gigabytes, nice and easy nice and easy budget line of motherboards. For our GPU, we're using the Gigabyte GeForce RTX 4060. Now, you guys, I know this is going to open up a whole can of worms here because people are like, why aren't you using Radeon? I'll be honest, guys. You know what? I'll just show you. This is why, in this case, we're finding builds, and don't worry, we do have AMD builds coming too. You are absolutely right. You could get more power in certain cases for Radeon, but if we just do this right here, oops. Oh man, save changes. Get out of there. Okay. Sorry, one sec. I need to add a graph for this. If we go click on this right here, these games and this resolution with DLSS and ray tracing, some of these games would not be possible with a Radeon GPU. Even if you were doing a 7000 series, these are still performing better at 1440p in some of these titles than they will. Again, we are going to be adding up to 10. In the next version, you'll have 10 titles to go from there. And the only two is we are, of course, going to be doing AMD builds as well. But one of the things is that for the most part, let's just be transparent. NVIDIA outsells AMD almost 10 to 1 in terms of actual sales. And the other thing too is that whether people want to believe it or not, ray tracing does matter. So that's just one of the things that we have to say, right? So for most modern day games, especially if you're talking about Final Fantasy 16, Black Myth Wukong, Star Wars Outlaws, all of these games have ray tracing, and their performance, especially if you want to have all the bells and whistles and run them in Ultra and all that sort of stuff, is going to run better on NVIDIA than it necessarily will run on Radeon. Now, if you're going to play games like Call of Duty, Apex Legends, Fortnite, and that's all you care about, then Radeon, you can absolutely spend the same amount of money, get more power and better performance out of a Radeon GPU. But again, we're building something that is balanced, more than likely what you're going to see in most cases. In that case, that would be an RTX 4060. So FSR and frame gen, the problem is that even with FSR and frame gen, John Paul Bacon, you can go watch the hardware unboxed video on Black Myth Wukong. I mean, literally, it's like 3 times the performance difference between NVIDIA and Radeon. Same thing will be in Cyberpunk 20, even though FSR makes sense. Dude, they're on their 2nd gen ray trace cores. It doesn't make that big of a difference. So it's not as good as you think. And remember, the difference between fluid motion frames and frame gen is that frame gen actually relies on tech that's on the NVIDIA GPUs versus fluid motion frames works for everybody. So even when it helps NVIDIA, it also helps, even though it helps AMD, it also helps NVIDIA. So again, this is just, people, I'm not telling you what you should buy. You need to make the decision. I told you already. If you don't care about ray tracing, you should buy AMD. If you, that's just flat out the thing. If you necessarily want to get the most power for your price, most bang for your buck, you should buy AMD. If you care about single player or ray tracing, then you should buy NVIDIA. Yeah. So, okay, so there we go right there. And all in all, last little bit. If you're happy, that's all that matters. You don't need anybody else to tell you otherwise. As long as you're happy with your PC, that's it. I don't need to be happy. Nobody else needs to be happy. You're the only person who needs to be happy with your PC. So please don't let people tell you chose wrong. Don't let people you made the wrong choice. That is not true. If you're happy, that's it. So, okay, last thing that a couple other things we're going to here. Other thing that we're not going to limit on, you're always going to see us do 1 terabyte NVMe drive. Guys, Call of Duty needs this in and of itself. And right now, with modern day games taking up so much room, 1 terabyte kind of seems like the bare minimum. If you want to save here, that's your choice. But I'm telling you, you're just going to turn around and buy another one of these, and 1 terabyte's cheaper than buying 2 512s. So you are going to see in all of our cases probably a 1 terabyte drive. And we're also going to be using 32 gigs of RAM in almost every case. If you're looking at this and saying like, hey, you know what? I'm okay with sacrificing what comes with only having 16 gigs versus 32 gigs. You can absolutely do though. Now we will be using DDR4 kits and DDR5 kits for sure, so speed, but 32 gigs for games like if you want to play Flight Sim, and there are other racing sims, etc., that do really require that additional 32 gigs of RAM. So if you do care, make sure that that's just the thing to go in there. So, yep, so again, we are playing with some minimums here where you might see other channels like, hey, we did 16, or hey, we went 512. And I just feel like you're going to pay the price for that stuff really quick, especially if you're playing more modern day games. Now, if you're a classic gamer, if you're playing old games, then guys, this does not matter. And again, this is where it bothers me that people say tech is one size fits all. That is not true. Every gamer is different. The games you like are different. It's like a fingerprint. It's unique to you. And so if you're somebody who's playing like Dig or, like old like Doom or old school games, or even 5 to 7 year old games like World of Warcraft or MMOs, you may not need some of these things, and you can use that to say, hey, I'm still going to follow on with Robey's build, but I know I'm going to play World of Warcraft, so I'm only going to put 16 gigs of RAM into my system, and that's totally fine. Yeah. C-Dub's World says 2 terabytes. Okay, that's getting a little crazy, but yeah. The internet would level lie to me. Okay, 8 gigs. So GT Beakerman says 8 gigs of VRAM is not enough. So Black with Wukong uses 7. Star Wars Outlaws will use 8 without an issue. I would say, guys, here's the thing. People saying you can make this decision, but I will tell you, developers learned a whole lot from the whole debacle of Hogwarts Legacy. I did a video on this. The thing is they are getting better about allocating VRAM, and especially with the speeds of DDR5, it's actually helped them in terms of being able to get textures in and out, which is where one of the bottlenecks is, as specifically for VRAM. You guys make that call. If you feel like 8 gigs is not an option, that's fine. But the other thing too is that you have to decide, would I rather have 8 gigs of RAM and have sub 30 frames per second, or would rather have 12 gigs of RAM and you know, sub 30 seconds. So 60 frames per second and 8 gigs of RAM with some potential stuttering with texture load in or texture pop in, or 30 frames per second and not have texture pop in. Because those are really, I think this is where it really kind of depends. At 1080p and 1440p, I will tell you, there are plenty of games that run absolutely fine at 8 gigs, and including games that also are modern day titles. You guys, we literally just go look at the Black Myth Wukong. It was using sub 8 gigs of VRAM. And then I've also, you know, I also know, just based on some things that have come out there for Star Wars Outlaws, that one also can work with sub 8 gigs. And Hogwarts Legacy now works with sub 8 gigs as well. So it comes to, it's just how things go. So again, these are things where you have to answer those questions. And this is why we love having these open conversations, yeah. So, okay, last thing, power supply, and this is what we talked about. We don't skimp out here. We're using the Tough Power GFA3 80 plus gold 750 watt PSU. So there is our power supply right here. You want to play, Cole Martin says she wants to play Ray Trace Stardew in 8K. This would probably not be the build for you. So yeah, there you go. And and it's funny, I haven't checked Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, but actually, Tom, can you put the list of games that we'll be using from now on? So that way we have that stuff in here. Right? So anyway, this is all of the stuff that we are gonna use in today's build. Just so you guys know, just so you guys can see it in a nice visual format. Here is the first build for Budget Build Friday. We have an Intel Core i5 13400F. We're using the Gigabyte B760 DS3H8X. He has the Gigabyte NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4060 OC WindForce. For our storage, we're using a Kingston NV2 1TB NVMe drive. We've got the Lexar Aries 6400 Mega Transfer CL32, 32 gigs of RAM. For the case, we're using the Lian Lancool 205 mesh. The cooler is a Cooler Master Hyper 212 Spectrum V3. And then we've got the Thermaltake Tough Power GF3 750 watt gold PSU. So that's all of the parts that we're using in today's build. And there you go. How much is that RAM? It feels like a good deal. Yeah, if you go to robeytech.com/budgetbuild, all the prices and everything should be there. Currently saving up for a 4080 Super OC. Will be up, and I know it'd get technically more barred, but I would get the quality I'm wanting to upgrade for in the first place. Ravenwing, as long as you've done the research and you feel happy about the GPU you're buying, that's amazing. The 4080 Super OC is a great card. So. Like I said, I would say that you can get better RAM for less in this case, but again, 6400 CL32. Oh wait, I did the wrong one, sorry. Oh, budget boards. I mean, dude, it's been a long time since I've seen one of these. So those will be the 10 games that'll be in every one moving forward, just so you guys know. So we'll have all of that data for all of them moving forward. And we'll probably have to rerun to make sure that we get this data too. What am I looking for? Looking for where's my zoomer? My zoomer. Oh, there it is. Need my zoomer. Okay, so kicking it off, guys, we're gonna start with our CPU stuff. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our, yeah, I know, an I/O shield. So we're gonna grab our 13400F. Now we do not need anything inside of this otherwise. The only thing we actually need out of this is the CPU, but the way that it kind of works, right? So if you've never done this before, is you actually have to remove the cooler to kind of get to the CPU. So you can just be a little bit careful here. So just open it up, go from there. And then this right here kind of slides out now, and then you can get to your CPU. And we're just gonna take it out. And you can do whatever you want at that point in time. And then we'll throw this back in. Oops, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put the actual, so I forgot to actually put the cooler back in. This is the cooler. This cooler is actually completely capable of cooling this CPU. Just so you know. It's just loud. And you guys will see that on a future build where we're gonna really kind of maximize how much GPU we can put inside of this, inside of a build like this. But yeah. Okay, so there is our CPU done. Okay, so what you're gonna do for this, if you've never put in a CPU before, there's a little latch on the right-hand side. What you're essentially gonna do is you're gonna just pop it out like that. You're gonna then lift up on the left-hand side. You're gonna take your CPU, there's a little arrow in the bottom left-hand corner. Little arrow in the bottom left-hand corner. What you're gonna do is you're gonna line that up with the little arrow in the left. And you're just gonna put it in. Now, the one thing that's really nice about these CPUs that used to be an issue on older Intel is that they were square. Because they're square, because they're rectangle and they actually have little divots, there's actually really only one way to put this in. So once you get that in, just push this down, kind of lift from the bottom there. And this is gonna pop, guys. Oh, that was a good pop too. And there you go. And now your CPU is essentially in. So really straightforward. That's how you've now installed a CPU. Okay, next thing on the list is we're gonna work on our NVMe drive. So for the Kingston, we've got this to make it look a little bit more like we didn't do this. He did a good job repackaging this up. It's in a little clamshell. So just gonna take it out, pop off the bottom here, pop it down. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna come over here. You're gonna grab your screwdriver, start on the left-hand side, take out this little small screw. Now luckily it's captive, so just make sure you take it all the way out. There it goes. Pop it open. And then you're gonna take this and you're gonna pop it in just like so. Now, we can actually see we need a little small screw for this. So inside of your motherboard box, you're gonna find one of these right here. So it is right here. So here it is like this. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna make sure you guys can see that. So it's inside, there's a little plastic piece. You're gonna open it up, drop it down. Don't lose this screw. Now, luckily it comes with a number of them. You're gonna put this little screw on the edge here. You're just gonna pop it down and screw that in. Just like so. Boom, and your NVMe drive is in. So there's your 1 terabyte drive. Now what you're gonna do right here is you're gonna go ahead and grab, peel this, pop that in just like that. It slides inside on the other side here. Just lift it down. Luckily, this is a pretty easy one to get down. And then you just screw it nice and simply down. Now, the one thing that's actually really nice about this motherboard is it actually does have another M.2 slot. So if 1 terabyte ends up not being enough, it's in a really good place. So being able to get to this and adding a second NVMe drive would be very straightforward if you wanted to add one right there. Yeah, and that's a good point from Araxis. Remember, the screws come with the motherboard. They don't necessarily come with the NVMe. Some NVMes do actually ship with little NVMe screws, but this is some of the stuff that you sacrifice when you go with a budget board. Things like you don't have an integrated I/O shield. You don't have things like like little clips. Instead of actually, you have to use physical screws, and then you don't get quite the coverage like heat sinks and all that sort of stuff for your NVMe drives. I just told my husband to go watch Robey Be Scared and rewatch. Oh yeah, dude, Figment. My heart's still racing there. You know, I want to let you know that was a genuine thing that I had to get through. It says Robey is his happy place now, far away from Alex chasing him with a bear trap in Dead by Daylight. Yes, that is absolutely true. Now, a couple things, guys. We still do have the 250 like giveaway still happening as well. So if you can head over to youtube.com/Robeytech Live, hit that thumbs up feature, that thumbs up, that would be absolutely great. Now, also, to be eligible to win the PC, you do have to be subscribed on YouTube, you have to be following on Twitch, and you have to be a member of discord.gg/Robeytech. So make sure that you've head over to discord.gg/Robeytech, make sure that you're a member, and then remember, if you use your Amazon Prime sub, you're going to get 3 additional entries towards winning this PC when we give it away here in about an hour and a half, 2 hours. So if you want to get your extra entries in, make sure that you drop your Prime sub. Also, we have the sub-only giveaway, which is a 4070 Super 7600X system that's up for grabs as well. So if you want to get in on that, you can drop it. And if you tier 1, you get 1 entry. Tier 2, you get 3. Tier 3, you get 5. And then every gifted sub gets you an additional entry towards winning the sub-only PC again as well. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Okay, so there we go. That's good. So let's look at RAM. What did we decide the RAM click is going to be for this one, Blondie? $99. Wow, you know what? She is in a mood. She's like, I want it to be hard. Okay, so $99 for this. Okay, so the way this is going to work, we're going to basically be putting in our RAM now. For our RAM, this does not have... Oh, it does. Okay, so up here in the top left-hand corner of the motherboard, and you can see it right here, it actually has a diagram that shows which RAM slots it should go in. So you're going to be putting first in A2 and B2, which is what we're going to do here. So we're going to open up A2 and we're going to open up B2 just like this. So these are the 2 places we're going to basically be putting in our RAM here in this case, okay? So we're going to open those up, make sure that they're essentially good to go. The next thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be grabbing this right here. This is our just seeing how loud it's going to be. GT Binkerman, thank you very much for the gifted sub, man. Yeah, and so the other thing too is understand, that's one of the things that Tom was saying, is that there is bottom clips on this too. So not only did I do the top clips, I also undid the bottom clips here. For your RAM, which I mean, this is actually really pretty RAM. So you're gonna do it, and then I like to do it like a waffle or like a skillet. Just flip it over, and it just pops out just like that. So. And there we go. So that's all ready. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take our RAM. Now, in this case, what you want to do is you want to make sure that the actual sticker is facing out, and then you're going to see that it's going to line up right. Oh, nope, this one's different. Never mind. This case, you're going to make sure that this slot in the middle is lined up with the slot on the motherboard here. You can see it just like this, so you can see that it's lined up just like that, and you're going to just kind of set it in like so, and then we're going to see if it hits 99 when we click it. Most of them actually aren't like this. Okay, so you're gonna put both thumbs on each end, and you're just gonna apply equal pressure. 99.4. There it is, 99.4 already done. Now you're gonna repeat this process. Yeah, that was easy. You're gonna repeat this process, same thing, line it up. Just like this, the actual sticker on this case goes on the back side pointing away from the CPU socket. Just gonna set it in, and then we're gonna repeat this one more time. 96.3 on that one. Super solid clicks on that. So there we go. RAM is in. Okay. So now that we have this squared, the last step we're gonna make here is we're gonna actually, we're gonna install our Hyper 212 Spectrum V3 before putting it inside of the case. We're gonna set this off to the side, and let's open this up and see what we essentially need here. So these are actually pretty straightforward to install. I'm not expecting it to be overly complicated. Inside, we have a bag filled with all of your stuff. Obviously, some of our stuff is kind of popped through here. You've got instructions. We've got our fan here, like that. And then we also have our cooler as well. And our cooler does not have thermal paste, guys. Okay, so we got all that stuff out. Okay, so what we need is we obviously need our cooler. We need our fan. Points deducted for black fans. Oh, man. Did this come together or apart? Do you remember? Because I want to make sure that we show the whole thing. I'm going to make sure that did this come together or apart, Thomas? Oh, okay, so these were actually off. This was actually taken apart, the clips. Oh, okay, just making sure. Okay, because some of them don't. Okay, so this is what you're essentially going to see. So it does have thermal paste. We'll use the thermal paste that comes with it, assuming if you want to use nicer thermal paste, you can. We're going to need our 2 screws. So there's 2 screws here. We have our back plate for Intel. We have our thermal paste. We also have 2 fan brackets. And then for Intel, I'm assuming it is the curved ones here. Yep, you'll need this and you'll need this. The rest of this is all optional and not something we necessarily need. You don't actually need this cooler for the 6-core CPU. You can use the one that's actually included with the, you can actually use the one that's included with the motherboard, but it is very loud. And again, we're doing something that's a little bit more balanced and spending a little bit of our money on accoutrements like an air cooler, etc. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put our air cooler together. Which is pretty straightforward. So you're gonna take this off. I'm gonna go ahead and peel it off all the way. So I'm gonna peel this, zoom in. So now you guys know that I did peel the sticker off. Okay, and then you're gonna basically pop this in like this. Oops. Oh, never mind. You're gonna do it like this. Pop that in like that, so it just sets in just like this on the side. And then you're gonna take a long screwdriver. Never make a thermal paste sandwich, that's right. So you're just gonna put it in like this, and then you're gonna take your screw. Gonna screw it in. Oh, I wonder if this goes from the bottom. I think this actually might go from the bottom. I'm gonna confirm this might actually go from the bottom, because I don't think you want a screw coming out of the other side. Let me confirm this to make sure I do this right. Rick Sama, I do make regular videos all the time. There were 3 that released this week. Okay, so I was right. Okay. So we're gonna go like this. Pull it up just like that. Then you take your screw. Yeah, screw it on the other side. This is why I checked. Go to the other side, screw it down. I was like, yeah, that seems wrong. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna do the same thing on this side. Rick Sama, you might be looking at Robeytech Live. It's over at youtube.com/Robeytech is where all the regular videos are. And then we screw it over just like this. Screw it over. We screw it in just like this. There we go. And so there you go. Now it's all set up and that's basically good to go. So we basically have our air cooler set up. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our motherboard. And for this one, you're gonna wanna make sure that the things are out as far as they can be. Oops, just drop it like I did. And you're just gonna put this on the bottom side of the board. And it'll fill in each one of those holes. Just like that. And then what I like to do is I actually like to slide it on the bottom like this onto the table so it ends up being like set, you know what I mean? So it just makes it hold it down, so sliding it under like that makes it really, really easy. I'll give you a wider view so you can see what I mean by sliding. Okay, so here's what I mean by sliding right here, see? So I grab it onto the edge of the table and I just slide it onto the edge of the table like this, so that way it stays in place. And then you're basically good to go there. Okay, so for thermal paste application, this is not a sub build. This is Budget Build Friday, Markle. So this is Budget Build Friday. We're do different budget builds on Friday. Week 1, the first week is on the live show. The second week will be the video of this on Robeytech.com, on Robeytech, youtube.com/Robeytech, and then we'll do a new build and then these we give away. I wear socks with sandals. Well, they're house slippers because I'm in my house. I mean, we're in a house, right? They're our studio home. Okay, let me show you guys. Let me show you guys the best way. This is the best way to put in your thermal paste. We're not going to do thermal paste spreading because not all thermal paste spreads very well. So I'm going to assume that you're not buying your own thermal paste. You're going to use the stuff that's going in there. And we're going to do what's called the dot method. And they're little micro dots. So you're going to do a dot here. You're going to do a dot here. Dot here. And you're going to do a dot here. Dot here. And you don't need to do a lot here, guys. You're going to do it basically 9 little micro dots. And this will cover the entire IHS. And if you want proof of this, head over to Robeytech.com, sorry, Robeytech, youtube.com/Robeytech, and look at the Lian Li, what is it called? The HydroShift build guide, and it'll show you how this thermal paste will spread. And you'll get entire coverage of the IHS. Versus doing the X method or anything like that, this just does a better job of giving you an even amount. It's socks and slides, it's not sandals. It's a big difference. Slides are not sandals, and these are slides. Okay, so now what you're gonna do, guys, is you're gonna basically take your mount thing, and you're gonna see how, and I'm just gonna, here, I'll show you, let's do it with the camera here. Okay, so, grab our roaming camera here. You're just gonna get closer. You can see how there's little holes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that these screws end up in each little hole. See, just like that. So that's going to kind of be the key part here, is that these will go into each one of these little holes, like so. So each screw is inside on top of a hole. This one looks like it needs a little bit of stretching here, so we'll move this one down to make sure that it reaches. So that's what I'm saying, is you want to make sure these line up before you screw them in. Okay, so I'm gonna move this one. There we go. And now they're all lined up. And then now what you're gonna do is you're gonna start with a star pattern. So on the top right, just give it 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure it's in, then you're gonna go to the opposite side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you're gonna go to the top side. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the bottom left, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're gonna repeat this process a couple times. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then once you've done that kind of twice, you can just screw it all the way in. There we go. Yeah, these actually, I will say, the budget versions of Cooler Master coolers are very easy to put together. So there we go. There is, it's all squared. Now, the good thing is about this, and this is one of the things that's actually really nice and things that we're not sacrificing when we look at motherboards like this, is there are actually two connectors I want to show you right now. So on the top right of the motherboard here, I'm going to zoom in here with the roaming camera. So we have our CPU fan, which you can actually see right here, CPU fan, which is that one right there. And then we have a 5-volt RGB header right up here. So these are going to be the connectors that we're going to be connecting the connections are for the fan that we have on the coolers. We're just showing you really zoomed in those particular connections when I plug them in, and we'll show you again zoomed in here in a minute. Yeah, sandals are different. Okay, so what we're gonna do, in this case, we're gonna take our fan. We're gonna have our cables that are basically, I'm gonna undo the twisty ties here. It's like this. ZigPC, thank you very much for the gifted sub. Spawn, thank you for the sub. Cyborg Faceplant, thank you for the sub. Remember guys, subs get you extra entry. Use your Amazon Prime sub. Get you extra entries towards winning this PC that we're gonna give away at the end of the show, and you're entered to win the sub-only PC at the end of the month. Okay, so the way this essentially works is there's 2 holes in on the fan. You're gonna essentially, and this is just, I'll do it again so you guys can see it a little bit better here. So you're gonna take your little bracket, it's gonna look like this, okay? It's gonna look like this. And basically you can see that the little clip is pointing out and the other clips are pointing in. You're gonna just take it into these 2 fan holes and just slide it on just like that. And it'll look like this with this kind of pointing out like so. So this is how it's gonna look from the front. Then you're gonna take the same thing on the other side and repeat the process, putting it both little fan holes, pushing it down. And so when you're done, your fan should look like that right there. And then the back, you look like that with these little pointing out like this. Then, with your fan cables being at the bottom like this. Hey, Najia, thank you very much for the 5 gifted subs. When you take the fans down like this, you're just gonna basically put them down. You're gonna then take this, go into the top down, and you're gonna see that you're gonna take these and you're gonna pull them over the edge like that. It might take some adjusting, but they'll eventually grip and it'll sit just like this, okay? And then I'll show you with the roaming cam, so you can see it nice and close. So you can see here how our clip is coming around and then it clips around like this. And if we look at the other side, kind of the same thing. The thing that you want to do is you just want to make sure that the actual cable, like the height and everything, is nice and even. So so the fan is getting the maximum amount of air through the cooler. Not that this AIO really needs it, but that's what we're trying to do right now. Yeah, and then the other thing too is he's absolutely right. You are getting you're not getting any blockage of the RAM sticks or anything like that. Okay, now for our only connection part here. So going back to roaming real quick. So you can see those two motherboard headers I told you about. We have our light gray one, our CPU fan. You're gonna take the PWM, it looks like this. You're just gonna plug that in right there. Just like that. And then you're gonna take this one, which is your 5-volt RGB header. And then you're gonna plug that into the 5-volt RGB header right next to it. It only goes one way. And there you go. So again, when you look at it from here, you can see there's our 5-volt right there, and there's our CPU fan right there. So those are the two cables we plugged in. Pretty straightforward. Now, if I were you, I'd get rid of this if you want to. He kept it on because we're showing you from retail, but you can get rid of this little cable. We're gonna take care of that right now. So now all of our cables, our fan and stuff is hooked up. Yeah, and it's actually you are right, it is actually a really nice ARGB header. So then I'm gonna use these to kind of clip this off. I'm gonna take this off and then just remove this little piece here. I'm already not doing cable extensions. There's only so much I'm willing to do here. So remove our sticker. I'm just gonna plug it right back in. And from a top down, so if you wanna see, if you're looking at the motherboard, the cables are in the top right, the place we've been looking right now has been in the top right-hand corner right there. So that's where these cables are actually plugged in. Now the next step, completely optional, guys. If you're into cable management, but I am into cable management. If you've never watched this show before, you're like, what is cable management? So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna clip these things together. If you have zip ties, this is when you use them. So zip tie counting is starting, by the way, guys. Sharkashay, thank you very much for the 1 terabyte, the 1 tier 1 sub and 32 months. Okay, so we're just gonna get that nice and tight like so. So zooming in so you guys can see it. So I've got it into a nice little collection like that. Clip it in, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna stick that inside. And then get it out of the way. So now it's hidden, and then now our cables, our motherboard looks like there is no cables there, right? So it's nice and clean. And guys, guess what? At this point in time, our motherboard is ready to go. Like there is nothing like basically, we are actually we're more than halfway done with this build already, and it's been just at an hour, and we've been taking our time, so yeah. So yeah, we will definitely make this look as nice as we can. Oh, you get your next month you get your 4-year sub badge. Wow, that's amazing, dude. I love that we have people who've been subbed for so long, and thank you very much, Najia. You have been you're such a stalwart of this community. Blondie, so many of you guys have been here through thick and thin, and I really appreciate it. So thank you. Okay, guys, now it is time to prep our case. So here is our case right here. Oh. Actually, believe it or not, this is the first time I've ever built in this case. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start down here on the right-hand side. There's 2 thumb screws. There's one at the top and one at the bottom. Gonna unscrew them. They are not captive, just so you know. Whoa. Okay, there we go. And then we're just going to kind of slide and lift off, and this comes right off. Pretty straightforward. Luckily, we're using a Lian Li case. Again, one of the things I told you is one of the places we probably will not skimp too hard is on cases, because I'll be honest, man, this makes or breaks your build experience. So, that's just one of those things that we always like to be protective of. Okay, for the second half of it, again, same thing. There's a top screw here. Don't lose it. Bottom screw here. Just take them off. Hold on to the back. And then you're just gonna slide that right out. Now, one thing that's actually really nice about this case, given the cost, So that you can actually see that this case does come with a hub for both RGB and for PSU. Sorry, for fans. So one thing I'm going to do is, because I always do this, is I'm going to go ahead and undo all these twisty ties, because I am definitely going to make sure that I cable manage myself. You can see that we have some cables to basically cable manage. And then down here in the bottom is the book for the case, and of course the actual screw box as well. So very, very nice of Lian to actually include a full screw box for this too. So, and then we'll show you how to connect all these. The one thing that's actually really nice is it actually only has one power connector. So it's almost like a unified front panel header, which is nice, but not real. Oh, no, and then there's, oh, never mind, there's more cables. Oh, no, I still feel like they're pretty good. Okay, so we got a little bit more cables back here, but yeah, we'll take care of cable managing this here in a minute. First thing we're gonna do is kind of shove these down in like that. Now the next step I'm gonna show you is optional. Main reason it's optional is you do not have to do this because we're not doing the fans, but I like to do it because it's just less weight. So you're just gonna pull from the bottom and pull that off. But you do not need to do this if you don't want to. And then up here at the top, there's actually a little dust filter. I'm gonna pull that off too. I'm just trying to make sure it's as light as absolutely possible. And then right here in the front, right here on the side here on the front, there are 2 thumb screws, which I'm gonna go ahead and take off too. These are for this little front panel here, like I almost lost one of each one of those. And this just, maybe? No, this comes off. I think there might be a screw there that I have to take off. Hold on. Let me verify that. There we go. Nope, I don't think that. Oh, yep, it does. Okay. There you go. So that slides forward like this and then comes off. And then they actually gave you some zip ties. Isn't that nice of them? And some screws. Okay, so you got zip ties and screws there, and then now our case. The reason I'm gonna actually take this off is that I actually am going to, the reason I like to take this off is because I like to have the room to cable manage. And then it's up to you, but for me, I do not like, I'd rather have lots of room down here at the bottom. So I'm gonna remove the drive tray. So I have maximum room for cable management and anything I want to do in that regard. Okay, so we're gonna take out those 4 screws. Then we're gonna take out our drive tray. And luckily the motherboard box is plenty thick, so you can just kind of stick that in there. Okay, so now our case is 100% stripped and ready for all of the work we're gonna do to do the fun things, okay? So now our case is completely ready. So the first step in our journey, and this is the thing you do not want to forget, you want to put in your I/O shield. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your holes. Your holes are at the bottom. These 3 holes are at the bottom. These are at the top, which, believe it or not, this is for a PS2 mouse connector. Just gonna take it in, and then you're gonna do is you're gonna set it in like this, so it fills that entire square. And you're gonna basically push it until it snaps all the way in. And this can take a lot of pressure, guys. And I will tell you, sometimes it helps to lay it on its back or whatever it was. this corner is in, yep. There we go. Okay, so once it's snapped in, you'll very clearly know, but you want to make sure that's 100% snapped in, and then when you tap it, it will not come out, okay? So that's how you know you're good. Okay, so once that is done, and you've got your I/O shield in, you're gonna lay this down, like so. Go to top down. Now you're gonna grab your motherboard, and the way I like to grab it is I just basically grab it with my fingers on the edges like so. You're just gonna kind of set it down, and you're gonna guide it in to the holes on the side. So the motherboard I/O shield will line up with all the holes. So if I show you here on the roaming camera here, you can actually see as I have it set in, notice how all of these holes are lined up. Now, one of the things is to see this right here, that's a problem because I've actually got a blocked USB port, and this is one of the things that you have to look for, is that sometimes this happens with a I/O, and you want to make sure that this doesn't happen. So we're going to take this out and fix this issue right here. See, because it's actually covered. So you're going to want to check this before you screw in your motherboard. Okay, so now we look at our side bracket. Sorry, roaming. I can actually look at it. You can see I've got no blockage there. Everything is good. You can see everything. I can get to everything. Nothing is blocked in, and I'm essentially good to go here. So that's the one thing you're definitely going to want to do when you're installing this, is make sure that you have no blockages and everything's lined up. The second thing is you can see that all of the screw holes are lined up with the screw holes on the motherboard. You don't need to worry about checking to make sure this is set up for ATX. It is off the top of your bat, to the top of the bat. And then I'm gonna take this little bit that I bent up right here, and I'm just pushing it back down now, just to make sure that it's flush. But there you go. Now our motherboard is essentially installed and ready to be screwed into the case. Now this thing needs some serious cable management love. Because we want to make sure it's clean, right? Okay, so now what we're going to do is going to grab our screws. So John Paul Bacon, most cases they are, but when you start getting into really budget builds, they still don't have pre-attached. Hey, local 86IW, thank you for the sub. I think you put them, you must have put, are they just all in here? Are these them in here, Tom? Well, this is a board. This is not, I wouldn't say this is true budget. This one's a little bit, those look like little small ones. The screws for the motherboard, are they in here? Because I notice there's PSU screws in here. But I'm trying to figure out, the screws don't seem to be in any of these bins. Because it looks like it was, which one of these is the motherboard screws? Did you open them? Yeah, it's in here, right? I'm trying to find them. Oh, you didn't use yours, you used your own. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah. Okay, I got it. So you used your own. Okay, got it. So let me look inside the box here, and let me see which ones are considered motherboard screws. Okay, so there are 20. Okay, so there it is. Okay, there's 25 of them. So it's this one. Okay, so these ones right here, the ones with the lips, are actually the motherboard screws. Yeah, exactly, hidden attributes, so I want to show that too. Okay, so what we're gonna do, guys, is they look like this. There's 25 of them, so it's like the most full bag of all of the screws that you get inside of the things. You're gonna open this up. And the screws that you are looking for, they have a little lip around them. So the ones that you actually want, if you're following along with this, is you want the ones that have these little lip around them, just like this. So, okay, zooming out here. Now the important thing here is not to cross thread. Nope, this doesn't look like they're the right ones. Oh, maybe they are. Hold on. Yep, okay, those are them. Okay, cool, I was right. So again, the ones that I showed you are the right screws. You're just gonna go to each of the 9 holes. There's one here, 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 and here. That's all the holes that you need. You're just gonna screw until it stops. They're pretty straightforward to screw in. You know what, Grateful's I'm not sure. See, because it's also used for the SSD mounts, Markle. So sometimes they have screws that actually have multiple purposes, so they give you that many because in case you want to do SSDs. Starting with the top one. Yeah, it's a nicer budget board. Sometimes you'll find like this. You'll find that it's like hard to screw in. So go. As weird as it sounds, unscrew it and screw it until it goes in very nicely, and that's the way you can keep it from cross-threading on your as you screw these in. Okay, there we go. Go. Now I will say one of the things that is definitely helping me here is using a magnetic screwdriver. Ant-Man, if you mean if it's plugged into your PC, yeah, but I don't know if you want to, like, I don't know if there's a way to charge it directly with a PSU. Yeah, if you just use the front USB port. Okay, so there we go. I think all of our screws are in. Cool, we're good to go there. Okay, there we go. So that's all screwed in now. Believe it or not, we actually don't need any of the other screws from within this plastic box that you got with the case. So you don't need anything else out of this. You can basically put this away inside of your box. I definitely recommend using your motherboard box for all of your extra components. So if you're that way, if you ever need anything or you do something in the future and you need a cable, anything like that, you know where you put everything. Okay, so now that we've got this all squared, next step for us is starting to connect all of our connections, our connections into the motherboard itself. The motherboard's installed. Believe it or not, once we put this all in, the only thing we gotta do is put in our GPU and our PSU, and this build is actually finished. We'll take a little bit more time on cable management just to make this look nice, but there's actually not, its build is not very complicated. Okay. So bear with me, because I'm going to show you front to back where to basically push these in. We're going to use the roaming camera. You'll just find this cable, and then you'll route it to where I show you on the case itself. Okay, so it should be a pretty straight. It should be pretty easy to kind of follow along here. First thing I'm going to do on the back here is I'm just basically just untangling anything, just making sure that nothing is kind of tangled up here. So like for instance, if I find a cable here, so like these cables, like for instance, are on top of this one. So what I'm going to do is disconnect them really quick. That one was actually fine. So my first step is just to detangle cables. So I want no I kind of want no cables to be all tangled up. So that's just basically disconnecting them and then detangling them and then just rehooking them up. Pretty straightforward. So this one was right here, up here at the top. So I didn't move anything. I just disconnect, like this cable was wrapped in. I didn't want to have it wrapped in. And then again, you can see these are all plugged in the way that they were before. So no problem there. So that's how the things are plugged in. Okay, so let's start with our first cable here. And our first cable here is going to be our USB 3.2 or USB 3.2, which looks like this. So it's a big fat cable, and that is going to run. So it's going to actually run right here on the side above this metal bar right here. So let me make sure you guys can see that. It's going to run here on the side above this metal bar right here, just through here. And then if you come out here, it's going to pull it in right there, okay? So it's going to route right there, and it's going to come out right here. So there's our USB 3.2. Be sure to just pull it out as much as you can. Next cable on our list right now is our USB-C cable. Looks like this. It's got a silver connection. So that is going to connect to the same place where our USB 3 is. So we're just going to route that right above where we put the USB 3. So route that in, and then it's going to come out right here on the side. Just pull it straight through like that. Okay. Okay, next cable is our HD audio cable, which looks like this. It's literally labeled HD audio. So it's literally labeled HD audio. The way it's going to work is just put it underneath all of the other cables here. Just want to make sure it's not under, like on top of other cables. And then you're just going to route it underneath like so. And then it's going to go, there's a hole right here. It's just going to go up and into this hole right here. And then on the side, you're going to see it just kind of pop out right here. And just kind of pull it out as hard as you can. So it's sitting right there. Okay, so there's our HD audio cable. Next cable on our list looks like this. It's the PWM connection. PWM connection for this fan controller right here. So this controls this fan controller. So we're going to take this cable and we're going to route it to right here. There's a hole right here underneath. You can see it. So I'm just going to basically make sure this routes right underneath here. And then when you come out to the side, it's going to come right out of this main hole right here. And you're just going to pull it all the way through. Next cable is our RGB header. So our RGB header is going to be our next one right here. So this is going to route to the same place where our HD audio was, which is right here. So you're going to run it through here. And it's going to come out right here above our HD audio. Just pull it straight through. Then the last cable, guys, that we have to hook up for us to finish this out is our power switch. It literally says power switch. It's the only front panel connection that we actually have. That is going to go into the same hole as our fan header right here. and then it's gonna come out right here, okay? So there's all of our cables routed. The one you might be looking at this going, Robey, there's still a cable back here. This is actually a SATA power cable. This is actually to power our fan hub. We don't have to worry about this, so for now we can just tuck that down underneath and we're basically good to go, okay? So now we're gonna go to top down. And hopefully, guys, is this super clear? Are you seeing? Yeah, I'm trying to be very, very clear in terms of where cables go and all that sort of stuff. So if you're watching this stream and you want to follow along, you absolutely can. Okay, so we're just gonna lightly set this down, okay? And then the next step here is to start connecting all of the cables. And I'm gonna show you each section because you've seen where I've routed them. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this one right here, and this is our USB 3.2. You can see USB 3.2. Now, one thing I wanna show you here on this is that you can actually see, going to roaming, you can actually see it's got a little divot right here on the side. So there's a little hole there, and that's so when you basically install this, you can see on the cable itself, there's a little divot or a little, like, kind of little peg sticking out. That goes into that little divot right here. Now, the big thing here is to make sure that you go right at 90 degrees and then push in, okay? It only goes in one way, so you don't want to force it, but it just sets in just like that, and it'll basically fill in that little divot hole just like that. Yeah, guys, don't forget, hit that like and subscribe. Remember, you got to be subscribed on YouTube. You have to like on YouTube. You have to be subscribed. You have to be following on Twitch, so make sure you're following on Twitch. If you're subbed on Twitch, you get extra entries towards winning this PC. And then you also have to be a member of discord.gg/Robeytech. The discord.gg/Robeytech to make sure that you can win this PC at the end of the stream. And then again, that's all stuff that you need to know from now. The big secret to cable management is caring about cable management. Maybe the most truthful statement yet. What does that mean? No, it's a gigabyte board. Okay, so now the next one we're gonna do is our USB-C. Our USB-C connection has a metal connection like this. It only goes in one way. So when you try and put it in the wrong way, it won't work. So if it's not working, just flip it over and put it in, and it'll go in right away. No, maybe not. Maybe I've done it right the first time. There we go. Yep, and it only goes in one way. Okay, so there is USB-C and USB 3.2. We'll make those tight here in a minute, and those connect right there. Okay, next cable is our power switch, which we have to zoom way in for as much as we can. That is gonna go right there. So I'll zoom in so you guys can see as close as you can. It's basically, when you're looking at the holes here, you can see I'm two from the top. I'm on the top level, and then it's 2 over. So it's like basically right here, or if you look at the other direction, basically it's the far edge here. So if you count 4 pins over, then there's a space, and then it goes right there. So that's your connection right there. That's the hardest connection to see of all the connections we're doing today. Next cable on our list is the fan header. And this one is gonna go right here. It says fan pump on it. Fan 3 pump. We're just gonna plug it in right on that. There we go. That's gonna go right there. There's that connection. Okay. We're gonna move over to the next side. This one is the RGB. It only goes one way. So you're gonna see there's 2 pins and then a single pin, 2 pins and a single pin. On this header right here, it'll only go one way. It's gonna be this one on the left side. And luckily these go in nicely. I will tell you, I have to say, man, these are like by far some of the hardest ones to get plugged in. There we go. Okay, so it'll plug in right there. And again, the one thing that's really nice about these is these are kind of like adult Lego. They only really go in one spot. That's going to go into there. And then the last thing is your HD audio connection. There's actually a filled pin on there. You can actually see there's a filled pin. This is going to go on the HD audio side. And the HD audio is where you see HD audio on the written like this. See where it says HD audio? That's going to point down and it's going to pop right into there. Okay, and guys, that is all of the connections for your motherboard. You're basically you're on the home stretch. You've done kind of the hardest part. We've got all of our connections in for the motherboard now. So your motherboard, when it's all said and done, will look kind of like this. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull all of our cables tight, and we're gonna do some cable management, and then all we gotta do is GPU and PSU, and we're done. Okay, so now, I'm gonna go to our side view here, our top down. Okay, so now what I'm gonna work on is just basically getting this as clean as absolutely possible. And that's just some cable ties to get this kind of cleaned up. Okay, we need to pull these as tight as possible. Go. And the big thing that you want to do is you just want to make sure that none of these cables are visible through the holes. That's the big thing here, is just making it so it's very, very clean from a hole. Okay, so one of the things I like to do with these like RGB cables right here specifically, and one of the things that actually ends up looking nicest, is just creating little small clumps for them. It's usually the easiest thing, like if you're just trying to do easy cable management, probably one of the easiest things to do is just to clip them and get them small so they'll look nice and clean. It's usually kind of the easiest thing to do. And then you do have, the one thing that's actually really nice is this actually does have some cable ties along the wall here. Kind of put in your cables. So you can just kind of make it look clean by using the wall cable stuff here. Even though there's no tie down. There we go. And we'll do the same thing here, just kind of go in there. And then what I like to do is just kind of, if you have like this extra cable stuff, you can kind of make your, make your own smaller cable. works really nice, and then it ends up with a nice, clean kind of, process to it here. And don't worry if your cable management doesn't look as good as mine, or it looks better, that's even better, but it's just the key thing is like what I like to do is just try and make cable runs look intentional and clean, right? Okay, so we got that one now. This one is kind of bothering me, so I'm gonna unplug this, and then I'm just gonna plug it back in, but I'm gonna route it so it's out of the way of these other cables. I'm gonna kind of do the same thing I was doing with the other one, where I'm just gonna make a beautiful, tight, small ribbon for this. And it just takes some patience, guys. That's all it is. It's just a little bit of patience. Some people are like, I just want to get the build on and turn it on. But, if you're going to spend, even if it's only $1,000, if you're going to spend money on a PC, you might as well take the time to make it look nice, yeah? You can say even, by the time we're done, this build will have taken less than 2 hours. And that includes taking the time to do some serious cable management. There we go. Okay, so let's get this stuff kind of out of the way so you guys can see what we've done so far. Things start to clean up nicely, which is nice. So for this stuff, what I like to do, like the cables that are down here kind of at the bottom, is I have a tendency to like kind of shove those together and make like a single one out of this, because it makes it really easy. Especially knowing that I've got these cables here to kind of cable into it. So. Hey, DJ Techno, thank you for the raid. There we go. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna focus on these bad boys, because a lot of times these have a tendency to just have a lot of excess cabling. So I'll just basically kind of tie them into here. I will say it's up to you whether you like clumps or not. I have a tendency to like clumps of cable because they look intentional. I think it's funny because 90% of cable management is looking like it was done on purpose. Versus chaos in every direction. That has a tendency not to look like it was done on purpose, but when you just basically put a bunch of clumps of cables together, it then looks like, oh, well, that was supposed to be that way, and it looks nice and tidy and neat, Okay. Again, not being too crazy with cable management, just enough to make it look clean and intentional. There we go. We'll do one more here. This is just for looks. A couple more just for looks purposes. Go. And one more just for looks, and then we've got our whole kind of thing cable managed. There we go, guys. Okay, guys, so there you go, cable management done. This is just our only cable, which is for PSU. There you go. So that's where it was, and this is where it is now. So nice and clean look to it. Looks very, looks much more clean, much more intentional, pretty much in terms of just how the build kind of came off, which actually, for being a novice, but what is the board with the connectors? Okay, so this board right here is what's called a fan and RGB hub. And what it does is it controls all of the case fans and RGB for the case. So that's what that is. So this is connected, when I connected it to the motherboard, I connected it via the PWM and the RGB connection at the bottom of the board, which is right here. And that's okay to ask these kind of questions. That's what this is for. So they're connected, it's connected right here. So that board is connected via this connection right here and this connection right here. Those are the two things that connected that up. You can see here, all of our other cables look nice and clean now, and we are ready for the next step, which is our GPU, guys. You are very welcome, Westfield, and thank you for asking questions, because that's what we want to do here. We want people to come away with this knowing more, and then feeling more empowered to do their own build. Okay, guys, so that's the build. How does it look so far? Are we feeling pretty good? Does it feel budget? Does it look budget? Ooh. Okay, that was my fear here. I'm gonna probably have to. Okay, so what I'm going to have to do, just to make sure this one cable stays clean and out of sight here. Okay, guys, so what I'm working on right now, and I'll show you what I'm done. I'm just going to make sure even the cables here look good. All right, there we go. Oops. Okay, one thing you can see what I did is in the top corner here, is I went ahead and added a zip tie up here in the corner, just to make sure that these cables up here, I just did a zip tie to make sure these cables look nice, and then this cable is just trapped behind here, which is fine. So, just trying to make sure that all the cables look clean. Okay, let's grab our GPU. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is there's 2 screws on this. There's one, here I'll show you on the side, so that way you guys can see this better. I want you to be able to see everything. So you go to side here. See, there's 2 screws here. I'm gonna unscrew these. And this will allow this to kind of come out. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take right here. So not the top one, the one right below the top one. And then the one right underneath, those are the 2 that I'm gonna undo the screws for. I'm gonna take these out. Okay, let's go back to top down. Dare me to hot glue a cable, huh? You want this PC to work, right? So we can give it away. Okay, here we go, our little tiny GPU. We're just gonna undo. There we go. Then what I have a tendency to do is I'll take out this and I'll put all these in the box. Just like so. And then you want to keep the static bag, guys, because if you ever need an RMA or anything like that, this is a box you should always keep. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is pretty straightforward. You're gonna take this you're gonna take this right here. You see that this slot, you're just gonna line it up with this top slot right here. It's very easy, very straightforward. Okay, just like so. Just gonna line up just like that, and you're just gonna give it a press, and it'll just click right in. It's really straightforward. And then if you need to get it out, there's a little latch right here that you push down, and that'll allow you to remove the GPU. Okay, so there's a little latch, a little button. Just gonna basically set it in. And it snaps in just like that. Okay, just make sure I can get that in easily. Okay, so now that that's in, take your screw. You're just gonna re-screw in those 2 screws that you took out on the right-hand side. Okay, and then you go to your side view here. You're gonna take your little cover. Just gonna basically slide it in, like so. And you're just gonna set it right on top. You're gonna take those little thumb screws, screw them back in. You just wanna make sure this is completely flat though. You wanna push this down, so when you tighten this, it's securing the plate. Okay. And now, the GPU is installed, so there it is. See, the GPU is basically ready to go. Hey, Pastor Dame, thank you for the sub. Mick Dugan, thank you for the sub. Locals86IW, thank you for the sub as well. Okay, so guys, we're at the very end now. Build actually looks really nice. This is the one thing that's actually really nice about using Gigabyte GPU with a Gigabyte motherboard is, again, the colors actually have a tendency to match together and everything like that. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna install our PSU, so we're just gonna flip it over. Cable management also looks good. So here's our thermal take Tough Power PSU. Gonna open this up. This is ATX 3.0, which is nice. We don't need it for this particular PSU, but the one thing that is really nice is that should you decide to upgrade to a 4070 or some other, 4070, 4070 Ti, you do have the connector to connect that up. We don't get to use it in this build, but it's nice that the PSU actually has that, so a nice little kind of future-proofing thing there. So grab our PSU out. Oh, you must have been looking for this, Tom. So this must be what you were looking for. You put it in the case. It wasn't in there. So yeah, I found this in the case. This must be, I was like, wait, this looks like a PSU stuff. So inside of this, you'll also have zip ties, and then you'll have PSU screws. So that comes with this. So you want that. And then you'll want this bag of cables. That's what you'll want out of this, out of the box. Westfield, thank you. I'm glad you like the cables. Whoa, whoa, ow, whoa, oh, geez. Hold on one sec, guys. I dropped my. Okay. Okay. So next step. So first thing, top down, we're going to peel our thermal tape sticker off. Flip this over. So the plugs that we're going to be plugging in are CPU, and so these 24 pin, you're going to plug this in. We're going to be plugging into the CPU, and we're going to be plugging one into here, and then we're going to be plugging one into the peripheral. So just so you know, those are the cables. That's where we're going to be plugging things into. Now yours will actually come all zip tied and twisty tied and stuff like that. These have actually been opened because he did this, but they will come all twisty tied. So it's saving me a step. So the cable I'll need is this one. It looks like it's got a 24 pin, and it's got a normal cable like this. You'll need that cable. The second cable that you'll essentially need looks like this. It's got an 8-pin, and then it has two 8 pins. It's got two CPU pins. They're literally labeled CPU, so this is like a dual one. So you're going to need this one. The last cable that you'll need, the next to last cable you'll need, it looks like this. It's got a 8-pin, and then on this one it's got a 6 8-pin. It's got two of those. So that's going to be the other cable you're going to be looking for. And then the last cable you'll need is SATA, which looks like this. It's got a 6-pin, and then it has these little flat SATA connections. So those are the cables that you'll need out of our PSU. The rest of these cables you can put away in your motherboard box, which is what I'm going to do with them. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our 24 pin, plug that in right there, and the other end right here. Okay, perfect. Then we're going to take our 8 pin. It's got the split. Looks like it does a 6-pin and a 4-pin. So that one, we're going to plug this into the top connection right here. Next cable, which is the CPU connection, it's got a split 4. It's got two of them, and they're double 8-pin. I'm going to take this side that only has a single connection versus the other one has double. I'm going to plug that in right here. And then your last connection, which is your SATA connection right here, you're going to basically take the 6-pin right here. You're going to plug that in right into the peripheral SATA. And then that is all the connections that you need for your PSU. Now what we're going to do we're going to take our PSU with the slotted side down, and you're going to slide it right in here. And this is why we do good cable management, because it slides in there very nicely. Okay, And then we'll set it up. And on the side, just gonna slide it in, and you'll actually see the screw holes line up for it, okay? So it's very, very straightforward once you kind of get it in. Take our zip ties and put out our 4 screws. There we go. So now what you're gonna do, you're gonna take these, start in the top right, and then you're just gonna put them in. You're not gonna tighten them down, just put them in, because the thing is you wanna make sure that all 4 screws go in first. And sometimes when you tighten them down, you'll notice that certain ones won't go in. So you're gonna just start these all. Okay, so once you get them in, that's here, there's one at the top here, and then one at the corner here. And then once you get them all in, you can tighten them all the way down. There we go. Tighten it down, there we go. There we go. One more. Okay, there we go. So there's all of the screws tightened. So now the next step is our finally just routing our cables, okay? Guys, we're at the very end of this build. You guys have watched a full budget build from beginning to end. So let's grab our roaming camera. So far, has it been really good in terms of showing you guys all the steps and everything? If you feel like you could follow along with this? You guys feel like you guys could follow along and build this yourself? Okay, good, good. That's all we really wanted. Okay, so starting with our roaming camera here. Hey, Eddie, that's awesome. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take this cable right here, which is your 24 pin, and this is gonna route right up here, just like that, okay? We're gonna go to the side, comes out just like this, right here. So we're just gonna route that one there. The next cable we're gonna route is our CPU. It looks like this. It literally is labeled CPU. Literally a labeled CPU on the side. And then this one is gonna go way up here in the corner. Sorry, I'm gonna disconnect this. This one I just have up here. We're gonna take this one, it's gonna go way up here. Just pull it through here, and this comes right out here in the top corner, just like that. Okay, and then our last cable that we have to route is, is gonna be interesting. So this is it right here. It says PCIe on it, okay? And it's like splits, and you're gonna run it down into this area. And then you're looking at the side here, it's gonna come up through this little bottom place right here, okay? It's gonna come up right through there, just like that. Okay? And then these cables, and we'll worry about cable managing here. So this cable and this cable, which this cable belongs to your little fan hub right here. And this is your power cable that we showed you plug in. You're just gonna plug this together like so. It only goes together one way. And then for now, you can just shove it in here. We'll cable manage it here in a second, okay? So that's all, this hub right here now has power, okay? So we're good there. Okay, so now we're gonna go to top down, and we're gonna finish connecting up our cables. Last part, guys. Okay, so starting in the top, take this one right here. This is gonna go right here. That plugs into that. We'll make this look nice here in a minute. Okay, this one is gonna go in the top right. There's only one place to plug it in. That's gonna go right there. Okay? Then our last cable is our 8-pin. And this is gonna plug in right here. Right here in the center. It's gonna be a pain in my butt. There it goes. Okay. Then what we're going to do, guys, okay, so we're going to then line this like this. I put a zip tie right here. To hide this one little extra cable. There we go. Okay, so that takes care of that. Okay, guys, now that we've got that in, got everything looking we got everything looking good. Okay, so now we're gonna flip this over, just make these last little cables look good. Starting with our 24 pin. Go. There we go. Keeps that nice and clean, so that'll look good. This one we're going to pull down. There we go. What we got to do is we have a place to get this in right here. There we go. Okay. Trying to get one more. There you go. There you go. There we go. Clean that out. Okay, so that takes care of that. That looks nice and clean. Now the last thing we're going to do, just to make this look very tidy, is we're going to create kind of a singular cable down here. Basement in the caboose. So even from the front. Okay, guys, and there it is. The build is done. Westfield, you are very welcome. Thank you for the $5 super chat. There we go. And there we go, guys. And there is a completed budget build with cable management done in what, just a little over 2 hours right there, right? Looks really good. And when you flip it over, not gonna lie, looks really good here too, right? So nice and clean pretty much across the board. Very tidy, right? Nice, clean, pops, all that sort of stuff, and it doesn't look, it doesn't have that cable extension look, but it still looks nice and clean. So there we go. Let's go to the side camera here. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take our little thing and pop that back on there, the cover. For the front panel, just gonna walk up, Lian Lee points towards the bottom. There we go. The other thing too is I like is, like, check out even the bottom, right? Like look down here in the side compartment there, right? Like it even looks clean through the front, right? You know what I mean? Like that, even the caboose where all of the power cables are looks really nice. Now we're going to take this, slides up and then over, so that'll seal that in. Grab our screwdriver. There's a little hole right here. Screws back down. Screws that in. We're going to take two of our parts and then screw it down here at the back, at the bottom. One more. That's screwed in now. Don't worry, we have fractal pop airs coming too. Okay, now let's go to top down. Grab our base here. There we go. Nice and simple. This is where cable management helps too. It's not even hard to put the back on. And just like that, guys, our build is now 100% ready to go and built. There it is, guys. Our first Budget Build Friday build, built from beginning to end. There it is right there. No problems whatsoever. Pretty straightforward. Showed you everything. In building this system, as simple as it can be. Guys, don't forget to head over to to youtube.com/Robeytech Live. Hit that thumbs up button. Remember, we'd love to give you that $25 new gift card away. Let's look at our zip tie count real quick, and then we'll get it turned on and see how it performs. Just check thermals and all that sort of stuff. Let's go to top down though and just see how many zip ties we've used. Okay, here we go. We use quite a bit because, again, no cable extension, so it's a little bit more work to make it look good. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 20. 22, guys. It is even today. 22 zip ties to make this build look clean and nice. 22 zip ties. Okay, let's plug it in. Now before we do that real quick, I'm gonna go ahead, we're gonna get the BIOS ready to update, because it will need a BIOS update right at the beginning. So let me grab my connection here. So in order for you to do your BIOS update, first thing you're gonna need is you're gonna need a USB thumb drive like what I've got right here. Nothing too fancy. Just gonna open it up. Turn on our PC. Gonna pop in our USB thumb drive here into the side here. It needs to be formatted as FAT32 so it's easily read. Okay, so there we go. Make sure here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to open up Windows Explorer, Internet Explorer. You're going to search for the motherboard, which in this case is the Gigabyte B760 DS3H86. So you just do Gigabyte B760 DS3H AX, just like that. So you just do a direct search for it. There it is right there, Rev1X. Click on that. Let it load in. Okay, go to support. Waiting for a sec, guys, sorry. Being super slow. Okay, so go to support, then what you're gonna do is you're just gonna go to down here where it says BIOS plus 10. And this has, there's the microcode update right there. So this came out on August 7th, 2024. Just gonna download this. I'm gonna go to my motherboard thing. I got BIOS updates. We're gonna go to Gigabyte. It's downloading. What I have a tendency to do is just copy it. Create a new folder. Control V. Pop it in here. Wait for this to finish. The PC is a giveaway today, yes, Charlie. Okay, there we go, open it up. Go from here, go ahead and open all this. Copy. Go and paste it into your drive. Just gotta wait. There we go. Once that's done, we're just gonna close everything out. Eject your drive safely. This is important. We just close it and we go back to here. Okay, cool. So now, we get everything ready to pop on. this out of the way. So what I'm gonna do here is gonna take my USB and plug it into one of the drives. Not a big deal, doesn't really matter. Preferably USB 3.2. Okay, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our power and our LAN connection. It does have Wi-Fi, but luckily I have wired in our studio, so we're just gonna plug that in. We're gonna plug in our power. Key thing is here, guys, when you get done, make sure that you flip the switch here to make sure it's on the one, okay? And then we're just gonna hit the power button. And boom, there it goes. It is on. I don't know if he put it in there, so it's all set right now. Hold M down. So it should be motherboard controlled. There it goes. Oh, oh, no, it's not. There you go. So if you hold this down, hold M down, it will go to motherboard control, so it's just restarting there. Maybe not. Maybe it's got M. Might be C. Hold C down. Eventually it'll go RGB. Oh, must be M. Oh, there you go. I think we're good. Okay, there it is. Motherboard controlled now. And now we just wait. Go to capture. And there it is, guys. It is posting. And it is posted, but I need to update the BIOS, so I wasn't ready. But it is there. So we are here, we are live, we are posted. Let's go and update our BIOS real quick. Show that process if you're getting this build. We've already installed Windows and all that stuff on this. If you want to watch a video, we actually have a whole video on installing Windows and all that jazz. Okay, reboot this. We're gonna just wait for it to pop open. Ooh, okay, already got it. Okay. Let's go to, let's go to advanced settings, Q-Flash. We're gonna go to Gigabyte, PSD, click on this and hit enter. So we basically, all we did is we hit F8. Okay, so just to show you again. So you're gonna basically hit, I went from, this is where I was. I'm gonna go up here to advanced mode. I'm gonna click on Q-Flash. I'm gonna go to file. You're gonna find the file that or just click on it. I'm gonna find the file. In this case, I put it on Gigabyte. Oops, not there. Put it at Gigabyte. And there's my motherboard. And then I'm gonna click the file that I downloaded. You're just gonna hit play. And I'm gonna say, yes, I'm sure I wanna update the BIOS. And then we're just gonna update the BIOS, and then you press the button to start, and now we wait. Okay. So that's all there is to the BIOS, and now we wait for the BIOS to actually update. How are we doing likes on YouTube, guys? We gotta be getting close. Okay, it's updating the BIOS now. Yeah, I'm just gonna log out. I don't know if we're gonna have time to do all the game testing today, because it's not really set up for it, but I'll try and show, because I think all your games are logged in as you. I don't know what you have right now. Okay, guys, quickly, you want to head over to youtube.com/Robeytech Live, hit that thumb up button because we're going to do a giveaway, but we got to hit that. We got to finish that out, okay? No, you cannot play Cyberpunk and Crisis at 4K with this. This is 1440p at the top end. If you're using DLSS, it's really a 1080p budget machine. Waiting for the BIOS to finish updating. It does look good, right? Like when you look at the build, it actually looks really nice. It came out really clean. When you just look at how it came, you know what I mean? It actually looks really nice. Like the fact that this is a budget build, I mean, I think the only thing you could do to really kind of make it look less budget is to get an all black, CPU cooler. But honestly, it looks really nice. You know what I mean? So in terms of the look here, let's go ahead and do our peels here. And then we'll run our thermals and pop that in like this. Cover that up. Is there something wrong here? Like, why is this? Oh, there it is. Lined up nice. Okay, perfect. There we go. Okay, now let's go and go to our side view here. Oh, once we get the colors and everything set. Go reboot it one more time. I wasn't fast enough. We want to now set. Last thing here that we have to set, guys, is we just have to set our XMP. So microcode updates implied. So now we don't have any issues. We won't have any issues with your stability or wear or anything like that. Okay, so now we're going to go down here to Extreme Memory Profile, change it to XMP1. So it's just right down here in the bottom right. Oh, you can't see it with where this screen is. There you go. So right there in the bottom left-hand corner, just gonna click on, go down to XMP1, just hit F10 and hit yes. And that's all there is to it. Now it is all set. And then now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and put my DisplayPort in so we can actually get the full meal deal. So wait for that. Okay, it is posting again. So there you guys go. Now you've seen the whole thing. You've seen us basically build the PC, get it all set up, basically get the BIOS updated, And so now we're just gonna do the last part of this, which is set the colors real quick. Duplicate this display. Keep changes. So let's open up GCC. Go to RGB Fusion. Oh, we should probably go here. Just got to make sure. There might be some. That's what I need. I need the VGA tool and then install. We just got to install the VGA tool. This allows us to change the color, the GPU colors. All right, so now we're just gonna click RGB Fusion. Everything's synced. We're gonna change it to orange, because why not? Okay. I don't think this is definitely not motherboard controlled yet. Usually it's just hold the M. I doubt they have an orange. Does anybody know what the control motherboard button is for this case? Do you know, Tom? Let me see if it's on the. It's probably in the manual. I'm gonna find what the RGB. Sorry, just trying to figure out what the button combination for the RGB. Installation. It's not Bluetooth. I do know that. I just am trying. There's a button combination usually to get it to get controlled. Yeah, this doesn't have anything like that. That's for radiators, offsets. Oh, like first to 7, 8, connecting to header. Okay, aiding it. What it says? Mode. Okay, 8th is okay. Mode. Okay, so you hit mode. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so now it's synced. Okay, cool. It's just a button. Okay, cool. Got it. It's not some special combination of buttons here. Okay, so there you go. We got that. Now, let's throw the Lexar RGB in here. Static. We want to make it orange. Apply. There we go. Look at that. It's not very orangish. Let's make it more orange. Apply. There we go. That looked good. Now, and there we go. Boom. Beautiful PC. Just at $965. Fully. It looks really good. And there we go, even from the front, right? How's that look? That doesn't even look like it doesn't even look overly budget, right? Najia, thank you for the gifted sub there. It looks really clean. Okay, so just for you guys know, for the parts for this build, again, budget build. This is a balanced budget build. This is an Intel Core i5-13400F, Gigabyte B760 DS3H8X motherboard. It's got Gigabyte NVIDIA RTX 4060 WindForce overclock. It's got Kingston 1TB NV2 NVMe drive. It's got 32 gigs at 6400 megahertz, Lexar Aries RGB RAM. It's in the Lian Lancool 205 mesh. It's got the Hyper 212 Spectrum V3, and then it's using the Thermalpic Tough Power GF3 750 watt gold PSU. So again, the focus on this one is to build something that was balanced, right? We used all modern day parts. Again, you could definitely, we wanted to get like a nice simple benchmark in terms of showing how this would run, where it would be, so we can start playing with other things. Things that we don't compromise on is PSU. We always do 32 gigs of RAM. We always do a 1TB NVMe drive. And cases have to be something that is not going to make you want to shoot yourself because it's so bad. So those are the things where we don't go too far. We also don't order parts from AliExpress. So everything is from Newegg, Best Buy, B&H, or Micro Center, etc. So that's where you can basically get all the parts. That's the way it's easy to get parts. And then again, we go sub 1,000 and lower. We're just starting with something that's kind of baseline. Could you save money? Yes. We talked about it, but you don't need the cooler. But remember, this is the first of the Budget Build Fridays. We'll have subsequent builds later on where we'll show some of that stuff as well. So we'll be doing everywhere. But again, this is one that this one that's balanced in the fact that it's aesthetically still very pleasing, and at the same time still performs. Just to give you an idea, and we'll show you some of this here in a minute, but just to give you an idea, at 1440p, when we think about how this thing performs, here's your numbers for our testing. Black Myth Wukong, 61 frames per second. Forza Horizon 5 at 80 frames per second. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 at 135. And then, of course, we also have Cyberpunk at 66 frames per second. Again, that was high presets, ray tracing very high, extreme presets with DLSS and auto with frame generation on. And these are all at 1440p with frame generation. Now, so again, we are going to have both 1080p and 1440p numbers in the goal as well, and it does very, very well. Anyone else one of those degenerates that leaves the peel on? No. So again, it's just one of those things that works very, very well at the same time. Let's go ahead real quick, and let's just take a look here. So again, just to see what our temperatures are. So we'll load up some Cinebench. Not that I'm overly worried about it on a 13400F, but we do have Cinebench scores, and all of those things will also be in the video that'll come out next week. So here's Cinebench, though. You can close this. 10 minutes, giving it a start. So again, popping in here, temperature-wise, I'm not worried about it, right? It's 54 degrees under load. So again, we're not worried about temps here. I'm curious how close this is going to be to a 7800X 3D from a performance standpoint. So I'm curious because a 7800X 3D Cinebench multi-core is 17,000, and this is actually chucking through here actually pretty quick. 6 cores, 6P cores, 4 E cores. So it's 10. So it's still 10 cores. And then here we go. Temps. There it is. It ran. So 16,094. So about 1,000 less than a 7800X 3D in performance in multi-core performance. So that's where it was in multi-core. So 16,000. And again, temps are. I mean, even under package temps here, City 60, 61. You got no problem there. I'm assuming Cyberpunk is on Steam. Open this up real quick. Do you have MSI Afterburner? Okay, you do. And then we'll go to Steam settings. We're just gonna, and then this we'll be using our own moving forward. But there you go. Play. We have Cyberpunk 2077. We'll check out that and this one here in a minute. So what I'm going to do real quick. Oh, wow. You actually made this all look funky. Okay, monitoring. You have all the OSD stuff in here. Oh, look at you. You actually really did this. Okay, cool. Well, this is all nice. Okay. I don't even have to do this part. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's load up some Cyberpunk 2077. We'll look at it at 1440p. Well, no, let's for the sake of this one, let's actually set our display down to 1080p. This is really a 1080p system. We gave you 1440p numbers already. Okay, so we're gonna run up here. Let's do Cyberpunk at 1080p. And we gave you the 1440p numbers. What do you mean, Phil? Oh, you mean the no? Yeah, we obviously want to show you guys stuff, right? When this stuff is set up, right? It's not about. It's about giving you guys so you guys can see a full experience and get to see the whole thing. Okay. Great. Okay. Settings. Go to. I don't know if I'm gonna get to this. Shoot. Display settings. Sorry, we're gonna have to go back to 1440p because the game was not in full screen. Okay, let's go to settings here. Why was our on-screen display not showing? Okay, so it's good there. Show on-screen. Everything here is fine. Okay, let's try this one more time. So again, I'll show you 1440p because it's set up for that. Sorry guys, I was gonna show you 1080p, but we'll get 1080p numbers. Okay, so there's our things up there right now. Okay, so we go here. Are you guys hearing game audio? It doesn't look like you are. Okay, cool. Okay, good. I just didn't want to have a mess there. Okay, settings, go to video. So this is running window borderless right now. Let's change it to 1080p. Change it to full screen. There we go. Graphics, we'll go to Ray Tracing Ultra. DLSS, we're gonna set it at, right now, let's run DLAA. So this is DLAA with, this is native. With frame generation on. So we're gonna leave native with frame generation on, and then let's see how this runs. This is like the crispest, cleanest that Cyberpunk 2077 would look. This is 1080p, and then we'll set up at the 1440p and see what you can get at 1440p. I would definitely recommend this staying at 1080p. I feel like 1080p is the right place for this to be. So there you go. This is Ray Tracing Ultra, raw 1080p. Ray Tracing Ultra, raw 1080p with anti-aliasing on top of it, and you're getting close to 60 frames per second on a budget build. So this is not frame gen. This is not basically doing any upscaling whatsoever. And the frame generation is just so it can also create crisp anti-aliasing as well. So we're getting an average of 60 frames per second here at 1080p. Now people sit there and say like, hey, well, I mean, like again, even on a Radeon GPU, even with FSR and Ray Tracing Ultra, you could not do this with a Radeon GPU. Understand, that's variable refresh rate, Max Bunny. It's a very different, how games work on PS5 is very, very different. Okay, so there you go, 56.99 frames per second. Now, if you wanted to run it the way that they intended it, we could run DLSS, we'd run it on quality, not frame generation on. This is just how it was meant to be run. So this is 1080p, no frame generation, just DLSS on, running it at quality. Okay guys, as we're getting ready to come down to do the last bit of the giveaways, please make sure that you are following me on Twitch, you are subscribed and liked on YouTube, youtube.com/Robeytech Live. You are a member of discord.gg/Robeytech, because that's where we're going to do the giveaway as well. So discord.gg/Robeytech. And you also, you are over 18, okay? Okay, so this is 60 frames per second, no frame generation, with 1080p, ray tracing and ultra, with no issues whatsoever. And we're probably going to end up just at 60. Now, if you wanted to add frame generation, this could go up to 90. But again, I was trying to show you what just regular, the way that Cyberpunk is meant to be played on a 1080p system with a 4060. Nice, Steve. Okay, so there we go, 60 frames per second. And we got no problems right there, up to 70 frames. So that's just to give you an idea. And again, this can do, you know, if you really wanted to, and then we'll just do it just for fun. And this is where it punches above its weight class, 2560 by 1440. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Okay, so now we're gonna go to 1440p. We'll run DLSS, we're gonna run it at balanced. We'll turn on frame generation, hit apply. So this is 1440p. 1440p, this is a sub $1,000 build at 1440p on Cyberpunk 2077. And there you go, 70 frames per second. Now, of course, we're using frame generation to fill that up, but it's making it nice, buttery smooth. And again, so even if you wanted to push 1440p, you could actually do that on this system. I mean, we're actually getting, yeah, and like I said, I think we averaged here about 66 frames per second. What do you mean, Brian Wig? What do you mean, no? Okay, guys, and as a reminder, two things. One, we have a 7600X 4070 Super build that's also up for grabs for this month. So if you want to get extra entries towards winning this PC that we're going to give away in just a few minutes, make sure that you grab, you drop your Amazon Prime sub. That's going to get you extra entries towards winning this PC, and it will get you entries towards winning the sub-only PC that we're going to be doing at the end of the month, and that's $2,400, $1,600. And then the other thing too is that also if you do tier 2 sub, you get 3 entries, tier 3 you get 5, and then every gifted sub gets you an additional entry towards the sub-only PC. You do not need to be a subscriber to win this PC. This is open to everybody. You just get additional entries if you are a twitch.tv/Robeytech subscriber. Okay, so there you go. That's a lot of Cyberpunk. Let's throw in another game right here, just to give you guys a little bit more. Let's throw some Black Myth Wukong, just to give it a last little bit. We'll throw you a 1080p number, and then we'll throw some 1440p at you. Kind of the same thing, just showing you what this budget system is capable of. And again, it's going to vary. We are going to have 10 games moving forward. So we will have 10 games moving forward. So I'll have numbers for more than just what we're having. And this will include the most popular games like Fortnite. We'll also have, Tom has a list. Fortnite, it'll have League of Legends as well. So you'll have World of Warcraft. So we'll have a large number of games for you guys to see this moving forward, just because it's the first one. It's the first one of our builds, and we wanted to have kind of a benchmark to kind of compare it against. So, hey, Blood Crow, thank you very much for the sub. Okay, so here's Black Myth Wukong. We're gonna set our settings first. We're gonna go to display. We're gonna go to borderless. We'll go to borderless. We're gonna go to 1080p for now. We're gonna frame rate caps off. Motion blur is off. Go to settings here. We're gonna go DLSS, frame generation right now. Let's set it to off. We're gonna put everything at cinematic. So it's the highest settings. Ray tracing is on very high. We're gonna apply those settings. So this is 1080p with DLSS, no frame generation. I think you're gonna need frame generation for this game, but let's give it a go here. So we're gonna run the benchmark. But maybe not, we'll see. I think you'll need frame gen on this, especially at cinematic. And this is just to show you, this game pushes it to the 9s. I think very high you'd have no problem. Okay, yeah, there we go. 23, 30 frames per second. Okay, so I think it's definitely gonna be a frame gen if you wanna run it cinematic. So you're getting console level frames right now. Yeah, okay, so let's do this. Let's change it, get it to actually go to 60. So let's see where it is at 60. And I'm trying to max it out here, guys. Again, you obviously have a lot of room to kind of play with here. So if I go to settings, go to display, let's go ahead and turn on frame gen. Okay, we're gonna apply that. There we go. So this should be close to 60 frames per second. Now, if you went to very high, you would not need frame. I think you can do very high, and you could set your ray tracing settings lower if you wanted to. I think it's gonna run about 55, 60 frames per second. And there you go, 52 frames per second. So Schweb, it is a 13400 with a RTX 4060. It's this build that you see right here, the build that you're seeing testing right now. Yeah, this is not fidelity mode, guys. This is what you're looking at right here is it doesn't get any prettier than this. Yes, it does not get any prettier than this Wukong right here. Black Myth Wukong. And I'd still say we may want to drop down. I mean, you could play this. I mean, I still think this is playable. Some people are not okay with sub 60. So I think very high, if I'm not mistaken, I think we're going to want to go very high on this. So let's get it to north of 60 because that's really what I want to do. I want to give you guys like real benchmark. And this is 1080p, not 1440p. Now 1440p you can do this. It's funny enough because you push more to the GPU, it actually ends up working really well. So if you go to display, graphics, we'll go from cinematic to very high. And then try it now. And I bet you this is gonna be much better. Now the funny thing is when we jump up to 1080p, when we jump up to 1440p, because it takes more onto the GPU, you'll actually see the GPU, because notice right now, the GPU, even though it's pegged at 99, there you go. See, we're hitting closer to 60. Yeah, temps are no problem. 60, 55 on our WindForce and 38 on our CPU. And there we go, guys. Still in the 50s, still a bit lower, right? So, I mean, maybe even, let's try one more time. I think what we're gonna have to do, I think we're gonna have to go to high ray tracing instead of very high. And again, this is still budget, right? Like if this is not like a, okay, there we go. Let's go to medium ray tracing. Yeah, and that made, look at that. You're already seeing almost 20 frames. And this is with frame generation too. There we go. And there's your greater than 60 FPS right there. So yeah. Okay guys, well, we've shown you a couple bit, got that to 60 frames per second on Black Myth Wukong at 1080p. You can use similar settings at 1440p. You'll actually see the same difference right there in terms of just graphically where it's at. Can I just check something real quick? So that's. I just want to check something because something seems not right. Hold on. Oh yeah, so it's at 1080p. Okay. Okay, so we'll let this run. Let's go ahead and start. We're gonna start with a $25 New A gift card up for grabs, guys. $25 New A gift card up for grabs. Exclamation point community, exclamation point community. $25 up for grabs right now, guys. Starting that giveaway right now. 2 minutes. And then remember, guys, as we're preparing to give the PC away, which is going to happen in just a few minutes, make sure that you're following on Twitch, you are subscribed on YouTube, you have liked on YouTube, and you're a member of discord.gg/Robeytech, and you have your whispers on, okay? You gotta need to make sure all those things are happening and you're good to go there. Triple X Killer, thank you very much for the sub. Kurosaki, thank you for the resubscription with Prime. Really appreciate it, you guys. 40 seconds left, guys. I'm glad you guys liked it. Woodward. And again, guys, this is a balanced budget build where you're going to start seeing some different stuff as we start to explore. I mean, the next build that we're going to be doing, which is 2 weeks from now, $1,000 4070 build. So that one is going to be even more interesting. But we really had to pull back on the CPU and some other things to basically make that work. So yeah, you're going to see some stretching. We also have some AMD builds in the future, all that sort of stuff as well. So yeah. Okay, guys, you can no longer enter the raffle. Congratulations to McWillshire Baggins. Congratulations, McWillshire Baggins. You are the winner of the $25 New A gift card, guys. And there it is. There it is, 68 frames per second. Right there. I'm just going to try this now. I'm going to set it up to 1440p. Congratulations, McWillshire. You are the winner. We're just going to make sure confirm. I think we're good. And it was $965, right? It was actually a little bit cheaper. Okay, let's set this up to 2560 by 1440. Okay, we're gonna try the same thing. We're gonna do super resolution. We're gonna go to balance. Okay, we're gonna go to here, super resolution. We'll do performance, apply. So this is frame generation on, ray tracing on medium, and then let's hit this and hit benchmark. This is 1440p Wukong. Okay, looks like we're good. Okay, next up, guys, is the real prize. Budget build Friday PC is what is up for what's up for grabs. This is the PC that we're giving away right now. Exclamation point, hold on, I'll tell you here in a minute. You have 4 minutes. Remember, if you want to get extra entries, make sure that you drop that Prime sub. You're gonna get 4 entries versus 1. So starting right now, you got 4 minutes. Exclamation point budget build, exclamation point budget build, guys. And there we go. This is 1440p right now. 1440p, we're getting 60 FPS right now. There you go, 60 FPS at 1440p right here. And that's not to say this thing is capable of gaming and streaming at the same time, right? 13400F, gonna be completely capable of doing that too. So this could be a gaming streaming PC as well. So if you're just wanting to think out and have something that can do a little bit of everything, this would work. Remember guys, 3 minutes if you want to drop that Prime sub, and you're also entered to win the sub-only PC for the month of August as well. Yeah, this is doing really well, 1440p. But this is where, you know, now the GPU is doing all of the work. CPU is just kind of handling it. 2 minutes, guys, 2 minutes. Brendan Norris 23 dropping his Prime sub. Mana Cloud showing Robeycat. Two minutes until the giveaway's over. And there we go, 67 frames per second right there at 1440p. So there is our system, guys. Our Budget Build Friday system all squared away and done. Currently being given away right now. And we will be back in 2 weeks for the next episode 2 of Budget Build Friday on Robeytech Live. But episode 1 will be on hopefully Friday of this next week. So what do you guys think? What did you think of this as the first budget build? Pretty good. Not a bad way to spend 965. Not a bad way to spend 965 bucks. Were you surprised by the performance? Yeah. And guys, we're gonna keep playing with it too. I'm glad you guys liked it. And we also we tried a very good job to show you guys everything you needed to see to build it as well. People are like, I hope I win too. Yeah, I hope you guys, wish I could give them all to everybody. 50 seconds, guys. Oh, nice. Okay, Fasten. Yeah, Skilo, I understand that too. Hey, Northwind, that's what I try to do. No, I've talked about it, Sir Mick. I need to figure something out too, to do that. I agree. 1080p is definitely the place for the 4060. But I wanted to show it, you know what I mean? So we showed you 1080p and 1440p. Okay, guys, 2 seconds. Moment of truth. You're no longer in the with it. Congratulations to Share Hef. Share Hef. Share Hef, you need to reach out. Share Hef. I think he was the one who said, I hope the person who gets it needs it the most. I think, isn't that what wasn't he the person who said that? Sheriff, you need to reach out. He says, Sheriff, weren't you the one who said that? Make sure you reach, so make sure you whisper. Oh, okay. Okay, you didn't. Okay, it's fine. Make sure you whisper Blondie right now. Please whisper, make sure you whisper it. Yeah. Make sure you whisper Blondie. So whisper Blondie, but geeky. So on Twitch, so we can confirm. Guys, don't leave yet. We got to confirm that he gets it, that he earned it. I mean, sorry, that he followed all the rules, all that sort of stuff. So just give it a couple minutes. Just give it a couple minutes because we may have we just hold on. We'll confirm that he actually gets it. Okay, still waiting for confirmation, guys. Just again, to give you some ideas. Now, we are going to have other numbers for the next build, but I just want to show this one more time. If you're interested and you're watching this and you say, hey, well, I may not have won, but I could still build this PC, you could. Again, here are just the performance numbers for this build. We have 1440p. These are 1440p. We're going to have 1080p numbers in the video. 61 frames per second. 80 frames per second on Forza Horizon 5, 135 on Call of Duty, and 66 on Cyberpunk 2077. And again, the parts for this were a Core i5 13400F, a Gigabyte B760 DS3HAX, the 4060 WindForce OC, a 1 terabyte NVMe drive from Kingston, 32 gigs of 6400 mega transfer Lexar Aries RAM, the Lian Lancool 205 mesh, Cooler Master Hyper 212 Spectrum V3, and then we have the Thermaltake Tough Power GF3 750 watt gold PSU. And that is what brought you this PC right here, coming in at $965. And that was it. So, and again, this is and the winner is confirmed. So that was everything. Again, we had a balanced budget build here. We wanted to show everything off and give you guys the full 411. Super appreciate you guys tuning in today. We are back on Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, going through Amazon Prime. We will have a chance to win a laptop from us. So that's going to be Monday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific time here at twitch.tv/Robeytech. Also on Amazon Live, so that's 9 a.m. on Monday. We have Intel Live on Tuesday. We're going to be doing a special game. You have your chance to win and all that sort of stuff on Tuesday. And then Mod Workshop on Friday. We're giving away a beautiful system on Friday. You're going to want to tune in for that. So if you want another chance to win a PC, Friday next week as well. Plus, we have Budget Build Friday for Intel for Robeytech Live 2 weeks from now, where we're going to be building with a RTX 4070 for sub $1,000, guys. So that is everything. Thank you so much for everybody for tuning in, and I appreciate you guys. We will see you guys on the next episode. Bye, guys.